we're good. Barry,
Yep.
you're in front of the millions and millions and millions of atoms in this room.
Doesn't worry me.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So, how are you?
I'm all right.
Anything interesting going on this week?
Loads.
Like what?
All kinds.
Yeah?
Want me to
Can you
delve into it?
Let's delve straight into it.
All kinds. Too much to talk about.
Nah. You know what we never talked about? White House Farm.
It's a good programme.
I kept on meaning to talk
True
about.
story.
True story. Good programme, true
Real
story.
life.
Each week, I was meaning to talk to you about it just a little bit, you know, as we were watching each episode, but I just kept on forgetting.
What was his name?
Michael Bamber or Daniel Bamber or something. Mr.
Killed
Bamber.
his family in Essex.
Yeah. Yeah, horrible person.
Piece of shit.
If it's true.
That's true.
Well, he's still,
Nah,
he's denying it, isn't he?
Nah, he's denying it, mate. But they all do when they're in jail, don't they? Everyone's innocent.
Yeah. There's a lot of innocent people in jail.
Listen, mate, you'd be
So, if
surprised.
you haven't watched it, though, it was on ITV.
ITV. It's worth a little catch up.
It was on a Wednesday. Really good programme.
6-part.
Barry thinks everything in the world is shit. That's his default stance.
Yeah.
Everything is shit and it has to be proven to be good.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of things that have turned out to be really good, and Barry's kicked loads of shit out the office, haven't you? But fair play. He got me onto White House Farm and it's turned out to be a good one.
The ending was shit.
You know why the ending was shit?
I missed
Because you fell asleep halfway through
I did,
and then
you know.
somebody's turned
I
around to you and
watched,
gone,
I think it
the
was 6
ending's boss.
episodes. Look, it was 6 episodes on a Wednesday night. It started at 9 o'clock.
I used to look forward to
And
it
I
after
watched
the podcast.
every one of them, got home, bam, settled myself down, watched it. And do you know what I done on the last one? Got home, settled myself
Had
down
you had
that
some
much
red
that I got
wine?
halfway through it and fell asleep.
Had you had a glass of red wine?
No.
Normally knocks you right out, that
Nah.
little beverage. Little red wine in bed, boxies on, White House Farm.
How do you know what I
Burger sauce. You
You
take pictures
I
and
sleep
send it to
in
me.
me knack, mate.
Yeah, you're not going to send me pictures though, are you?
If you want
So-
to, you can have to. I don't mind.
No, you're okay.
Aye.
We'll leave that there. So, Barry, what the additive, mate?
Don't know.
What the additive?
What the controller, mate?
What the additive?
What the controller?
You always go in and throw spanners in the works, don't you? What the controller?
spanners,
What the
fictions.
additive? So, podcast 205. What the additive? We're going to go through not all the additives on the market, but we're going to go through.
far too many.
There is far too many.
There's hundreds.
There's
upon
repeat
hundreds.
additives that you don't need to stock. We'll talk about a little bit about shops that stock everything, shops that have a selection of additives and nutrients. Before we
Shops that
forget,
just
though,
sell the
Barry,
best that work. Shops that
before
sell
we
all
forget,
the shite
and
that
while
doesn't
we've
work.
got most people tuned in, we were on time today, 4 o'clock, just
No, we
24
weren't.
hours later, because we were just up the wall yesterday. Up the wall. So we like to do it nice and chilled. So that's why we had to push it back to today. I hope you'll enjoy it. And if we get loads of live viewers, we actually used to do it on a Thursday. So I might actually change it to a Thursday, just see what the feedback is for people. Wednesdays or Thursdays, let me know what you're thinking.
Put it out there, mate, for debate.
People who are joining us on YouTube, G, we've got somebody just called G, 420M Fung, PL Grow Systems, Anita, BBK MRC, Raccoon Hands. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We also have somebody else who's joined us, a third party. He's in the room, staying very quiet. We may as well do our partner shout-outs.
We may as well.
So we will start out
Should we get them to
with
do
the
their own?
elephant in the room.
Should we get them to do their own?
We can get one to do it.
Yeah,
do it
one
on
to
their
do
own.
their own. We'll leave him to the end and he can
Okay,
kick his
so-
own.
First off, we have CANNA nutrients, mineral, bio CANNA. You know what we don't do? We don't shout about bio CANNA enough. The organic range from CANNA. I don't know why it doesn't get shouted about enough. It's fantastic range. I don't know loads of people that have used it, but the people that have used it
Love it.
absolutely love it. And we're going to start talking about CANNA's organic range a little bit more because it deserves the attention. Who else, Barry?
AutoPot.
AutoPot watering systems, the number one gravity-fed system in the world. Constantly innovating. We're going to show you in the next few weeks the new valve that they're coming out with. I think that'll be ready for around March, April time.
Isn't it ready now?
Yeah, well, we've got one.
got samples.
But I think by the time it's in
Produced and
production
out
and
there and, yeah.
ready for it globally, probably a couple of months, March, April. But yeah, fantastic system. If you haven't used the system, it's a really good system to start with. if you're not used to.
It's
if you've
Bosch
just
for
been hand
beginners, intermediates, and
and
experts.
commercial as well. You
Yeah,
can
and commercial.
100 pot AutoPot system.
I don't
Done.
think you'd do a commercial without that, to be fair.
Yeah, I
think
know.
you'd
Yeah,
be a bit
just
mad.
go
Hand
round
watering,
hand
you'd have to
watering.
use an AutoPot system.
And
for
they've
that.
also got the new sort of system, which is the valve in a tray, AutoPot plant skirt. Means that the water doesn't evaporate. You don't get algae in there. Works really, really well. I actually did an article on it. Called One Plant, One Light. You can look at that on the NPK website.
I think that's a lot of people are going down that road
One
now,
plant,
aren't
one
they?
light, yeah. Just more attention to each plant, and AutoPot's valves and skirts working fantastic. We also have
Revolution, Micro.
Yeah, this is going to mess us up because we normally do this in a particular
yeah.
order, and we're not. We have Revolution Microelectronics, HPS lights, the Revolution Diva, and the double-ended ceramic metal halide. Great engineering, great people, and check them out if you're looking for lights in the industry.
We also have my
SANlight.
favourite LED in the world.
Not just your favourite,
Everybody's favourite.
my favourite.
And if it's
The
not your
shop's
favourite
favourite.
and my favourite, it should be everybody's number one.
It is. Somebody asked the other day, what are you thinking about LEDs? I said, I don't really know what to say
When I
about the
think about
majority of
LED,
them.
I think about SANlight.
Yeah. And it is, people think, oh, just saying that because they're partners, but
It's not.
we generally, before they became partners, we were using them in the shop. We've seen the results. They definitely replace 600 watt HPS lighting. They definitely give you the better quality. And I will stand proud in front of the 16 people watching live, in front of the 65,000 people that download each month, in front of the 2 million people I've downloaded over the years of doing the podcast. SANlight are fantastic.
Yeah.
There's me head on the block. Prove me wrong.
The last but not least.
Who's that?
What's his name? The main man. My main man.
Main man.
Do you know his name?
Main man.
No idea.
Shout it. Main man.
Erwin. And we've
Erwin.
got him in the room. My man.
Erwin's in the room, chilling out,
And if
drinking
you don't
his
know
water.
who Erwin is, he's aren't living.
Yeah.
He should have been. You should be phoning requesting visits to your shop.
All of our Australian listeners,
He's full of knowledge.
US, UK, Canada, Australia. So fourth on the amount of subscribers. I think we've got about 5,000-6,000 subscribers in Australia. Everyone listening in Australia, you go into your grow shops. I think it's the number one in Australia by a country mile. They've just done a big tour of Australia.
It's the number one everywhere, though, isn't it? Really.
Well, everyone likes facts, don't you? And the fact is, it is number one in Australia.
It's number one here, isn't it?
UK number one?
New UK
Must
number
be.
one. Yeah.
Must be.
Yeah.
For Australia by an absolute country mile. And it's in every shop. They've just done the 2-week tour. He's come back with a gorgeous tan. And he just doesn't even want to show it off.
Stop talking about him like that.
Listen, don't get jealous, Barry.
Aye.
He
That's
got,
my Erwin,
he got,
not your Erwin.
got
mate.
naked in the office before. And
That's because he gave me this lovely T-shirt.
yeah, the atomic weight of Barry is 12.01.
It's not.
It is.
Well, more than that, you know. You haven't lit the back.
You are mostly carbon. Diamonds, coal, oil, can filters, and people all contain carbon. I think everything contains carbon. So they are the partners of the podcast. And you know what? This next little segment is going to hit hard because there's 17 people watching today. This Thursday might be a good thing. So, Barry, you don't know what I'm about to say, but I know you're going to back me up. Some people say in our industry, why are the prices going down? Why is there so much competition? Why? Why can't we get Boost to be at a stable price? Why does everyone keep price cutting? There's a very, very simple answer for it. I'm going to let Barry tell you the answer. Why is it, Barry? You're not reading my mind today. Shops and the number of them.
Yep.
So there's an amount of shops in the UK. And new shops, some shops close, some shops open. The reason that there's a price war in the UK industry, in my opinion, is because some wholesalers will just open up new accounts regardless of how far away they are from other shops. And it's all over the country.
It's happening everywhere, isn't it? No,
All over the country, from Scotland to London, Newcastle to Liverpool. No matter where you are, wholesalers are opening up accounts to get business.
But there's new wholesalers, new
looking
shop,
for new business.
new shop. I can't blame them for doing it.
Open up accounts.
I blame the shops for the. I blame the shops for the price war. I do,
Yeah.
because it's him down the road, and we've had it today. We had it yesterday and today, where someone's phoned up, they've ordered something, and then they phone back, oh, he can do it cheaper, and all right, go on, I'll match that, and then they phone back again, oh, he can do it, and then I just sit there and think, can I be asked with you, lad?
Yeah.
Can I be asked with you? I give you the price, which was a good price for that, whatever it was you asked for. Then you've phoned 50 other shops to get their fucking prices. If you're that much of a fucking minge bag, beat it, go to the other shop. Not interested, don't want your business. It does me head in.
So
you know what I mean?
The price war happens.
It's what they're doing is they're just playing you off against each other. But it's happening in the wholesale side of things as well, the wholesale side of things, where shops will ring the wholesaler and say, how much for this? Go on, sound. Oh, and then they'll ring them back. Oh, such and such said he can do it for this. This other wholesaler saying he can do it for this. And what it's doing is it's creating them brands what have built up. It's just fucking bringing them right down to nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow.
The brands that last.
I don't understand why the brand doesn't turn around to the wholesalers and say, that's the lowest you can go. This is what we're selling it to you for. I expect it to be retail for this. Obviously, we can't judge what the retail is going to be because there's that many shops. People can do it for a month, but you've got it, and you've got it, and you three, the main wholesalers in the country. If we find yous lowering the price from what we've give you more than 10%, because 10%, we're giving you for this price. If we find yous lowering it more, then you're degrading the product that we've worked so hard on.
Yeah.
So if I tell you to sell that for £400, but you can discount it by 10%, what's that quick?
What the 390?
Or let's say 390. That's the your good customers and that.
No,
and then it
catches
360, and then all right, and then it catches selling it for £340 in, because what you're doing is you're putting them at risk where they're going to drop it, and before you know it, the wholesalers are at a price war. With this product that should have been sold for no lower than 360 is now being sold for 320, and it's like, you're losing it. So if I catch you, if you're the kid and I catch you selling that for 340, you've lost the product. Now, them two wholesalers are going to boom a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because now they've got 50, well, it won't work out like that, but they've got 100% of what he had selling has gone between them, whichever way. So it's not just happening in the shops, it's happening in the wholesalers. So if it happens in the wholesalers, and because it's happening in the wholesalers, then the shop thinks, oof, I can still earn the same money and I'm getting it cheaper. So I may as well reduce it in the shop. And then every shop does it. And then before you know it, lad, it's just a fucking big tumble, mate. And like, fuck off.
Something's got to be done. The wholesaler's answer to it, though, is, you know what, I've never looked into it and I don't even know the proper legal term of it, but it's called price fixing. You're not allowed to tell somebody what to sell something for. But there's also the bread line or something it's called, isn't it? Or you can't sell below the bread line, which is you cannot make a loss on a product. I think that's also
no, they're not dropping it that much where the wholesalers aren't dropping it that much where they're making a loss. But there's ways around it, lad. Come on, mate. Look at the industry we're in. There's ways around it, mate, where you can just turn around and go, no, you're not selling it for that reason. Yeah. The wholesaler's not going to run off and start crying to governing bodies because there is none.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
I know.
And take it off them and make out another reason for taking it off them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not fucking hard.
Be a bit smarter about this. And but something definitely needs to be done because accounts are getting opened up daily. And it's not the shop's fault. The person who wants to... In a way, I disagree with it. I think the people who are opening up the shops, it's not their fault. No. Because it's business and you want to open up a shop. Crack on.
Yeah.
But on the other hand... There's enough shops, and when wholesalers open up new shops, the only way they can compete with existing shops is to lower the price. They're not going to compete on knowledge from somebody who's been in the industry for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They're not going to compete on product knowledge. The only way new shops are competing is to be cheaper and be cheaper on everything. And that's the only strategy that they can go with. Make sure they've got a successful business. It's really the wholesalers that are just willy-nilly opening up every and any account and supplying them with everything and trying to get them cheaper.
That's just the world we live in at the minute, though.
It will be the death of the industry.
It's dog-eat-dog, mate, and they're all doing it themselves. If I give you a product and Ewan a product, and it was my product, and I'd put my time and effort into it, and Erwin was selling it below whatever it was, I'd tell Erwin, nah, it'd be you sold it cheaper, though, I'd tell you then. Nah, you're not having it. And if you've got a fucking problem, come and see me, mate. Erwin, it's yours solely, sole distributor, lad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't ruin the product, lad. Because it's my product, and I've put my time and effort into it. To give it to wholesalers to fight over it, to drop the price. And when they drop the price and it goes to the shop then, and if the margins aren't in it for the shop, even if it is a good product, if the margin isn't in it for the shop, they're not pushing it. They're pushing, because the shop's still got bills to pay, staff to pay, insurances to pay, or everything to pay. So if there's no margin, if there was something, if we had 2 bottles now and they were both Bosch products, but one of them we only make 10% and the other one we make 50%, which one are you selling? 50%.
You're going to just naturally want to sell the 50% one?
Yeah, because it's a natural thing to want to earn money and pay bills. And otherwise, I'm going to say, I can't let my heart rule my head and say, well, I believe more in the 10% one. Because then I'm just going to say, all right, Steve, I'm going to have to let you go, Jalal, you're gone. Brian, you're gone. I'm going to get the unit next door, which is a smaller shop, just because life doesn't evolve like that.
You can only have so much
loyalty, you know what I mean?
To a product. And that's what will happen. Shop owners aren't soft. When products get to a certain point where you just can't pay the bills for that product, it's off the shelf.
And every customer wants everything cheap.
Yeah.
They want it cheap. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's shit. They want it cheap.
And
even if it ruins everything else. It's like, here's one for you. I was reading this the other day about petrol. You know, if you go to like a Shell or a BP petrol station, you get, even though it's a couple of pence more than the Asda and the Sainsbury's and all that. See, Asda and Sainsbury's, do you know how many problems they have a year with their fuel?
No.
Because it's like fucking no frills fuel. Go to PP and all. Listen, lad, I was reading a thing the other day. Mate. You love it. Why?
Because it's £1.20.
Because it's £1.20. How many people go into the Asda and break down half a mile away because the tanks are full of water?
Is it?
Listen, lad, it's a major problem. I read about it the other day. It's like common knowledge, mate, I swear to God. You go to these supermarkets for your fuel, the fuel is dog shit. Dog shit, lad. You know what I mean?
You know what the supermarkets don't give you? And this makes sense now. They give you petrol and diesel. They don't give you diesel super plus or
that's because
petrol
the
super plus.
The proper petrol station, BP, and that is proper fuels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Fucking petrol's petrol. If you light it, it'll go on fire. But the petrol that's in a petrol station is proper petrol.
Yeah.
The petrol that's in the petrol station is proper petrol, but the maintenance of it all and all that isn't.
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard about it like constantly.
Did you read anything
5
like
or 6 cars have broke down outside the petrol station because the fuel tanks are being full of water.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Did you read anything about this? So this is how it makes sense and how it works. So petrol's from oil, and we get everything we distill from oil. So it's called fractional distillation, and then you've got petrol, you've got air fuel, you've got diesel. And so at a certain fraction, a certain heat, it gets to the top of the chamber and pulls off. So that at certain points, you can have the finest, purest petrol. And as it gets lower and lower, closer towards like the heavier stuff, it's going to be lower quality. So when people are buying the petrol plus or diesel plus, it's basically the finest, most purest petrol at the right fraction. So they take that off, tap that off. That's the purest stuff. Second in line is probably your BP stuff, your Shell. That's our standard petrol. And then the stuff that's just about to turn into maybe
dog shit. It's gone the Asda.
We'll go with that. We'll sell it for cheaper.
Yeah.
We'll sell it.
And that's why they can sell it for cheaper.
Yeah.
It's mad. See, it's happening across everything, lad. That's just.
But no, again,
let's just get back onto the additive because you'll have me fucking ranting and raving all day about shit.
I think they like it though. I do think that they like it. But
if I was driving a brand new car, I'd never fill it up in the Asdas and the Sainsbury's and the Morrisons and wherever else. Fucking.
That's a lovely little Vauxhall.
You sell fruit and veg, mate. Stop selling petrol. Fuck off.
What?
You sell fruit and veg. You sell fucking bars of chocolate and cornflakes. Stop selling petrol.
Yeah, it's just different horses for different courses, and nobody's in the same breath. As well as we can all have this rant, nobody's in the wrong, really. The customer wants the cheapest product because he's looking out for number one. He's not asked if your shop goes under.
Look at, lad, you're just going to spiral here in the additives.
Go. Well, you can do this
what's
next
the minimum wage in this country, lad?
£8.20.
£8.20.
Like
someone's got to fill the car up once a week to get to work to earn that £8.20 for 40 hours. The price of the fuel is heavy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I can understand them going to the Asda because this country is just fucked. Fucked. That's basically what it is, lad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
especially if Scotland leave us and don't give us any of their Scottish oil.
It's like that inheritance tax. We were talking about that the other day, weren't we? So you pay 20%.
You pay your
tax on everything. Everything you've got. National insurance,
tax.
council tax, car tax. You pay your tax on everything. So, say a normal couple work all their life.
You're not included in that.
No. A normal couple, and
normal.
they work all their lives, and they've got 2 kids, and they've paid tax all their life on everything, their income, car tax, everything, the fucking council tax, the fucking lot. And they own a £200,000 house, which they've worked hard for, never missed a payment, everything. When they die and leave that house to the kids, so the kids have got a good start in life and haven't had to go through the struggles that they've gone through, and you'd think that they go, yeah, there's £100,000 each there for the kids. That's what we've left. We've died. There's £100,000 there for the kids each to get on the property ladder and stuff like that, which is fucking great. They haven't. They lose 40% of that 200 grand, lad.
Oh, yeah.
Just in inheritance tax. How the fuck can that be? So what you've done is you've basically robbed me, because I've worked all my life. I've paid every fucking tax that you've thrown at me. And then when I've died, whatever I'm left with, you've taxed me again. Yeah. So now I've been taxed twice on everything. Fuck, what the fuck is all that about? So the only people who are getting away with that shit, lad, is rich people, lad. Yeah. The people who are like,
they can pay the best accountants,
because they can pay the best accountants, the best lawyers. They can do this, they can do that. See, your average fucking poor bastard Joe, lad, works all his life, and the average is 150 grand house with 2 kids and leaves it to them, so they get a good start in life, lad, and they don't have to do the things that they done. And yeah, they still have to work hard, but it gives them a step onto the property ladder, because it's hard to get on the property ladder now. And then they get taxed fucking 40% on it. And it's like, wow, fucking real.
I know. We should do it.
Honest to God, it's fucking, it's bad
to sort it.
It's fucking bad.
I know. Because there's one point and one reason we'll finish on this is because there has to be rich people and there has to be poor people. And that's the way every society, that's the way they've got to keep it. And
the rich get rich and the poor get poor, I mean.
Yeah. I'm about to read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Been recommended to me. And maybe get some insight into it. Anyway.
Back to the
podcast. What the additive? How long was that, by the way? We can fly through this.
Listen, lad, you can fucking, you start all that shit, you'll have me off.
Right.
And I don't even know that much about it, lad. There's just no snippets, and the snippets are no stinky shit. Do you know what I mean? And make me mad.
Are you ready to go? I built a piece in the house that I built, in the booth that I built.
I know people tune in every Sunday to listen, but even when business is good, we still manage to do the podcast. NPK.
BBK MRC said, will AutoPot work with a DWP feed? I think that DWC feeds meant to say DWC feed to allow you to put air into the water and not affect the pH.
Put air in the water?
Yeah.
Into like the tank?
Yeah.
You don't really want to be pumping air into your tank because it'll send your pH up anyway.
Yeah, you just want to use a cocoa feed in AutoPot. If you use
and
a DWC feed,
in your tank,
that's designed for your roots to constantly be submerged in water with high oxygenation. Therefore,
isn't it a neater feed as well? It's weaker,
it's
weaker.
So you're probably going to get deficiencies. Anita, hi Anita, you said, do you need 2 and a 1.5 tent? That is on the SANlights. Yes, you do on the old ones, the Q6Ws, the Generation 2. I think you'd probably get away with 1
per square metre.
In a 1.5 by 1.5 tent, the new Generation 2 SANlights, what would you have? Pushing it 2.
But you're saying pushing it 2, you could easily put 2 in because they're dimmable.
Yeah.
So
2. Yeah.
And,
you'd get a nice result at 1.
You'd get a nice result at 1, but if you could get 2 in it, put 2 in it, and just, if it is 2 in 10, dim it down. Because they dim down. Yeah. Have you seen the new fob?
No, you've kept it well hidden, and you just play with that.
Because
You
you break it.
don't let anyone else play with stuff like that,
It's
do you?
fucking virtually unbreakable, lad. It's just like a little plastic fob.
Raccoon Hand said, I run 6 autopots and love them, except for random springtails that love living in the water tray. Apparently, they only eat mold, though.
Are you giving them the dry days, though?
Yeah, so
that's
Barry's technique. Oh, not Barry's technique. Barry's
it's everyone.
It's an autopot technique, isn't it? But Barry goes on about it every time we talk about autopots. Give them the dry
It's only
cycle.
because some people think that an autopot is you fill the tank up, turn the tap on, and leave it. And it's not for that. What it's for is to take the hard work out of walking 20 metres down a room, which has 500 plants in it, and you're walking 20 metres down a room with buckets of water. It's not for that. It's designed so you can fill a room and you can operate the actual water from one point.
The springtails, you're right. They most people will get fungus gnats, but springtails, they're not a massive problem for the plant. What they are a problem though is it's called a vector for disease. They transmit disease, especially Pythium. They transmit it on their feet, so you can get a higher chance of Pythium. I would use CX tannin, which is a bacteria, and that'll kill all the fungus gnats and the springtails.
But just give it the dry days, and
period,
if it's dry, you won't get them.
BBK said he loves his Budmaster 450 XG. They've got some new LEDs coming out soon. Be worth a little look at them. Joshua says the Gavita 1700E is mint. Been using one for a month now. Best growth I've ever seen. They're that good. Got on one today. Good feedback. I like it because we haven't really seen too much from the Gavita LEDs, but they're not going to be shit. It's Gavita at the end of the day. But good feedback. I appreciate that. Matthias says hello from Denmark. PL Grow System says it's been run SANlight Q6Ws for almost 2 years now, and just as good. Where's that gone now? It's just moved. There's a lot of comments here, and I've just lost that one. Just as good as the day we got them. 215 watts replaced a single 600 watt HID. I can back that up. I've got a few customers using 2 of them, and they've absolutely smashed the yields with 600 and obliterated the quality as well. And then, yeah, you've got people kicking off. People just want something for nothing all the time. If you have the knowledge, your customer will come back full stop. And that's the good shops will have the knowledge. Matthias said, I don't know if this is your area of expertise, but I would love to hear one day an episode about automation, sensors, and growing in a controlled environment. Tell you what, we will get Peter from PL Grow Systems to come back on and talk about that sort of stuff. Because we've learned a lot about CO2 since you were last on. New sensors hitting the market every day. So, Peter, this is your invitation. We'll get you on probably after Spanibus. Raccoon had said sometimes the price difference is a hell of a lot, though. One shop near me is about £15 more on anything over £50. But Raccoon Hands, if that shop has got better knowledge, look at it as if you're paying the extra for the knowledge that the shops give you. Like, I know that the knowledge that we give and the tips that we give to people definitely are worth the extra money that they pay in our shop. And then everyone's just kicking off now, Barry. Good customer service means people will pay more. Good knowledge in a pleasant manner. Grandad says people try to chip the price all the time.
Yeah, you just worry about your couch. We've recently found out that Grandad NPK, aka Brian, is back to full strength. We seen him bench pressing a 3 and a 2 the other day at the back of the shop.
420M Funk has basically told us off. Come on, guys, enough waffle. What the additive? So let's get into it. Let me just read the rest of the comments. Most people do enjoy a good rant. People just going off on one here.
All right, go on, read them out.
It's just Ian Collins said we're all slaves to the elite.
We are, mate.
1% rule. Money is deadly. The government took half of my money. People, they put us in debt. Yo, hello. Great respect from white Russian growers. Nice to see you, Russia. Right. I think that is good. Right, keep your comments coming in. Let's get into the podcast. Roots. Let's start with the basics. Root stimulators. I've made the list. You got your CANNA Risotonic, CX Regeneroot, House and Garden Root Accelerator. You've got your Botanicare's Riser Blast, your Dutch Pro Take Root, Mills Start. Not many people know, but that's technically their root stimulator. Hydrotop's root stimulator, BioBiz's root juice, and then you've got Gold Labels as well. They've got theirs, which is called Roots.
All good products.
You know what?
All of them are good products.
Every single one of them.
Every
You will
single
not
one
go
of them.
wrong with any one of them. Now, what I wanted to
Mills just need to write it on the bottle.
talk, because it is confusing.
It is. Listen,
Mills
loads of people
Start.
don't know. It
It's
just
got-
says start. People put start as, oh, that's baby food for me plants. It's the start. Haven't CANNA got one called start?
Yeah, but that's an actual start for seedlings.
Yeah,
and
but
that.
start to me, if you said to me, oh, Mills start, what is it? I would have said, that must be like a formula, it's like a baby food to start the plant.
Yeah.
You just need to write it on the bottle.
Um,
We know the PGR free now because that's on the bottle. So put your roots on the
Thanks,
bottle.
Sus. Oh, the PGR stuff. People that might be wondering, phase 2. So you can't have it basically just given. It's all on there. It's now been sorted out. The test will happen any day now. Just had an absolute nightmare because it could only go into a personal bank account. I got rid of that. Then we had to go through all kinds
Enough
of
of the nitty
security.
gritty. When's it coming? When's it going to be done?
Oh, you'll
Next
know the
couple of-
results next couple of weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, and we'll do a podcast on
Back
it.
to the additive. Let's
So,
keep going.
Uh,
Let's push
the reason I've done Roots,
Erwin's taking
Good.
me for steak.
good timekeeping, Barry. Roots is the reason I wanted to do these additives is to talk people through why they should use certain additives. So there's some Regeneroot by CX is a purest root stimulator. It does nothing else. It just
It
gives you
is.
clean, white,
It's
healthy
cheap.
roots.
It's cheerful.
£20, 1 mil per litre.
Dilution rates, boss.
It's a purest root stim.
Yeah, man.
I believe Take Root is by Dutch Pro is very similar.
Yeah.
It's a purest root stem, but it's got a few little amino acids. It's got a little bit extra to it. So some people say when we're comparing products, the Take Root's about £40, 1 mil per litre, but you do get a little bit more bang for your buck. You get the extra essential vitamins, amino acids, and that sort of stuff. Then you've got root stems that have got the proper extras as well. You've got your CANNA Risotonic, which is not only a root stem, it's also a growth enhancer. It's also, you can use it as a foliar spray at a quarter strength, and it's got your vitamins, amino acids, it's got seaweed in there. It's just a healthy plant tonic. So what you've got to consider is when you're picking your root stem is, do you want a purest root stem and just have what it does on the
Because
bottle?
if you're putting other additives in, you can overcook the additives,
Exactly.
which you don't know within the root stems as
Exactly.
well. Yeah.
And that's sort of the point of today's podcast is be very careful with what additives you're using. If you use CANNA's Risotonic, then you shouldn't then also use CX Mighty Growth Enhancer
Yeah.
because you're just going to overdo it. There's more than enough nitrogen in CANNA's Risotonic, and you don't need to add more. The Regeneroot, though, is a purest root stem, and if you need a little bit of calcium and nitrogen, then you would use CX's Mighty Growth Enhancer. You've got your cheap ones, Regeneroot, but when we say cheap, it's still very good quality. You've got your next level up, which is your Risotonics, it's your Take Roots, your Mills Start, and then you've got your really high-end root stimulators. These are your Root Accelerators by House and Garden and your Riser Blast by Botanicare. These ones are like 0.5 ml per litre, but they've got so much in them, they don't even list on the bottle. They've got seaweed, kelp extracts, vitamins, amino acids, little bits of P's and K's to help with your root stimulation. It's people might not be wanting to pay £90 for a litre bottle. It'll treat 2,000 litres of water, but they're absolutely full bore. You do not want to use any other additives like growth enhancers or super thrives when you're buying this root stim because it's an all-in-one concoction. We've talked about this before with roots, bigger fruits. We want to knock that out the park a little bit because bigger roots does not always mean bigger fruits. If you've got bigger roots, you've got more plant matter to support. So the light that they're taking in, the plant has to expend that energy on supporting the root system, and it doesn't always mean bigger fruits. Another thing is people have been coming in the shop recently, and I've only learned this recently. When you take a cutting and you've got massive roots, and then you put them in and you just basically swirl the roots down, there's no problem with just cutting those roots in half and just cracking on. It doesn't affect the plant. It doesn't even stress the plant out. Whack them in half, put them in the pot, and you've potted up. And you haven't got that swirly, shitty root system. What's the smile for our basil?
Doctor that he'd cut the opposite end of the roots in.
That's called topping.
Yeah, I've seen your topping. What's next? Keep going.
So basically, you've got like sort of 3 tiers of root stems. Your cheap ones, purists. You got your ones that you got your little bit extras, and then you got your top end root stimulators. If you go for purist, you can add more to them. If you go for your middle of the road, you can probably add some Super Thrive, some vitamins, maybe a bit of silica.
Top end,
if you go on top end, just stick to that root stimulator.
Next,
because it's got everything in it. And we're going to slow you down, Barry. Growth. So this is your Mighty Growth Enhancer by CX. Again, £20 for a litre. It says 1 mil per litre, but we never use that. We use half a mil per litre with Mighty Growth because it's very strong. The reason that we like Mighty Growth Enhancer, and also recently found out Gold Label's Ultra N is a very similar product. It's got different levels of nitrogen. It's got your ammonical nitrogen, nitrate nitrogen, calcium nitrate. So it's got calcium to build up the stem strength, and it's got the nitrogen for the green leaves and base, pretty much nearly every process in the plant. So if you're using a cheap root stem, it's good to maybe add a little bit of Ultra N Gold Label or Mighty Growth Enhancer by CX.
Start Mills. Is that like
CANNA Monos?
The nitrogen one, is that?
Yeah, it was designed really for deficiencies, and it's not massively sold in our shop, and because mostly deficiencies these days are not down to your nutrition, it's down to you as a grower and your environment. So rather than trying to remedy the problem with a liquid, we say sort your environment out, stop overwatering, stop underfeeding, add a bit more A and B. You can get rid of most deficiencies with just tweaking what's going on in your room. Growth, I've also put Start Mills in here because it has got nitrogen there as well as a root stem, and I just wanted to shout out you can use it as a root stem. And you've also got Growth Technologies Nitrozyme. I've used Nitrozyme. You mentioned Formulex. Growth Technology, I've got a few good products for the early stages for the nitrogen, for when you need to add that little bit of green to the plant. So growth enhancers, don't overdo it. Great for the first few weeks, but I have found even with Mighty Growth Enhancer, when you're adding that much nitrogen and that much calcium, EC goes through the roof. The calcium hates every other nutrient and can block certain uptake. So if you overdo it, you can get deficiencies in certain other nutrients. So you've got to be very careful when you're using these sorts of growth enhancers. PK, read them out while I have a drink of water, Barry.
No, that's your job.
Just read them out for me.
What do you want? Which one?
PK.
PKs. So you've got CANNA's PK. You've got Mills's C4, which is a PK. You've got Butter's Tree 918, which is a PK. You've put flower based on there. Is that because it's got PK?
It's an early start
because
PK,
it's an early
it?
start PK. You've got Veg and Bloom Shine, which is a PK, and you've also got Flora Boost by Hydroponics.
Yep.
Which has got a PK in it.
Yeah.
Can
I have my sheets back?
No, you can't.
If that's like me crutch, Barry.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's only notes, but I just like to go down them. So, CANNA's PK, 1314. People sort of forget how scientific and how much work and effort CANNA put into their PK. It's a 1314. Anyone that knows a chemist or has done a little bit of in-depth chemistry, getting phosphorus and potassium in the ratio that CANNA have got it in, at the strength that CANNA have got it in, is really difficult chemically to do. So people see it as just a PK, but it's a very high quality, high strength PK that will get the most amount into your plant as possible. And I think people lose sight of it because it's been around forever. Not many people talk about PK. It is a very, very good quality product, but it's just in a 1 litre bottle, 5 litre bottles. It's relatively cheap. I just wanted to shout out the science and the chemistry that goes into that product is phenomenal. Mills have got a PK and a C4. They sort of double up on their PKs. They use their C4 all the way through from about week 2 of flower, and you add the PK, their other PK, from about week 4 of flower, which makes sense to me because you want a set level of PK through flowering because the plants need more phosphorus and potassium, but they need that extra dose in week 4 and 5, and that's why they've got their PK in there. You've got other ratios. Buddha's tree is 918. So the reason for different ratios is different companies believe that the plants need different amounts of phosphorus, different amounts of potassium. 918 works really, really well. But is that down to the ratio being 918? Or is it down to they use a lot of sulfur in their 918? So the quality that you get when you're using their PK is phenomenal. And if you use it with the Meta Boost, it's even better. It enhances metabolism, gets the plant to uptake more nutrients. And there's a lot of love for the 918 product from Buddha's Tree. They've also got the Flower Base, which is a PK product, but it's a phase 2 week. We brought it on last week. One of the best products that you can get. Just because not much happens in those first 2 weeks of flower. You're not adding your PK. You're still adding an A and B. You're not using really your growth.
There's not much of a change, is there?
Yeah, there's not much going on. So adding flower based, you get to see more flowering sites. You've also got your new powder nutrients, which are major onto the market. Your Veg Bloom, which is Shine. It's your PKs, your boosters, all in one bucket. And you've got your Hydroponics Floral Boost, which is a PK and a booster in one. And so it's a PK and boosters and enhancers get mixed up a little bit. You've got Purist PKs, which is your CANNA, and you can add a lot of other stuff around it. You can add your seaweed extracts, you can add CANNA Boost, you can add a lot of other additives to that without overdosing on PK. What people got to be careful with PK is your booster got phosphorus and potassium in it already? So if you're using Dutch Pro Explode, that is a booster, enhancer, and a PK all in one. Some people like to add a little bit of PK because they see that the ratios aren't great on it. There's not a lot of PK in it, but all they've done is round it down to the smallest ratio that they can. So there's actually still quite a bit of phosphorus and potassium in it, but they've just rounded down the ratios. And something that you need to research if you're really into your phosphorus and potassium and you want to get into the nitty gritty is start looking at weight for weight and weight for volume. A few years ago, there was a mix of weight for weight and weight for volume. Weight to volume could be really misleading for people. Listen, you find it boring, but it's important information.
My weight.
Important information.
My weight, yeah.
What's your weight to volume?
My weight's 15.5 stone.
Huge. Weight to volume is pretty much eradicated in our industry now.
Be
Most
bigger later,
people are
won't it,
using
Evan,
weight
with
for
that
weight.
steak, mate?
You are an absolute nightmare sometimes. Aye, isn't he?
He hates me, you know.
I do hate
He
you
loves
because
me, but he hates me.
I love to hate you. That's what I like to do.
I spend more time with you than I do with my own missus.
I know, it's a fucking tragedy. Barry doesn't want me to talk, so Barry's going to take over.
No, I'm not. Come on, carry on. Lad.
No.
Carry on.
Barry wants to
I
talk.
insist you love the sound of your own voice.
I'll shut up.
Be like a silent disco then, won't it?
Great for people watching on YouTube.
Come on, don't mess about. I'll just change the subject now and talk about this fantastic satellite controller. Do you want me to?
Let's finish PKs
Let's
and
go ahead
enhancers, and I'll let you have a half-time break. Okay? For the people that are genuinely interested in hydroponics
Just
and,
that you can
and
go
ice
in a bit.
science, we can cover the basics for years and years. People want some in-depth information. I could have gone well harder on this. You're lucky. Weight to volume. I'm telling them to do their own research, so I'm not explaining it and I'm boring people, as you like to say. Make sure that if you're comparing PKs with other PKs, make sure you're comparing weight to volume or weight to weight to weight. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Barry. I knew you'd like that. Snore. Enhancers. Boost. CANNA Boost. Dutch Pro Explode has gone in the enhancers because it's an enhancer
Yeah,
and a
Paul,
PK
you're doing your own head in now, aren't you?
Me
Not
mouth can't
just my
keep up with
earrings.
my brain.
Wake
Wake up.
You all right, lad?
He's having a little
Fantastic,
nap. Yeah. Rock
Judah.
Resonator. Moonshine.
Yeah.
Bloom Bastic's got in there as an enhancer, but it is a PK as well. I think it's an 1820 PK. But it's got a lot into it. So it's for me, it's more of an enhancer, even though you can't add PK to it because it's got a lot of PK in there. But people get really good quality with the Bloom Bastic.
Yeah.
So basically, PK enhancers, boosters. PK help with the swelling. Boosters should increase metabolism. That's the point of them. Enhancers will enhance flavors as well as increase metabolism and some of them have PK in there. Just be really careful with what products you're using. Too many people are throwing 2 PKs in a boost and an enhancer, and they're just fucking the plant's metabolism up.
Yeah.
So it's better to use less than to use more nutrients. Using more nutrients won't necessarily just give you better yields and better quality. So before we move on to finishes, I'm going to take a sip of my water and let Barry.
Nah, come
do
on,
new
let's
pro-
finish
No,
the
no,
additives.
No, I said.
I was enjoying
half-time break.
Half-time break. What
Yeah.
else is on it?
Never you mind. You talk about your new product. It's Barry's turn to talk. I'll go through the comments.
No, we'll read the comments out. We'll do this at the end. Come on.
Yeah.
Stop messing it up,
I'm
mate.
not messing it up. You
Little
do.
cob on with yourself and all that.
You.
Oh, yeah, wasting me, bird.
That's not very nice, is it?
Come on.
So where comments are we on? Where are we
We've
up to?
all fell asleep.
No, there's
No one's
fucking hundreds of
commented, they've all fell
comments.
asleep.
Absolutely hundreds of comments. I'm just going to start with PL Grow Systems. Said Shvet doing environmental forecasting along with outlier and anomaly detection. Mills is having it. Love Organo. What's your opinion on fulvic acid? Fulvic acid essential when you're using organics. It's in the BioBiz range. It's in the CANNA Bio range. Using fulvics and mineral setups, it's not that essential, but it can definitely help. Grandad said, has Aidan got the cuppers on the go yet? No. He just sits there with his hat on coding. He's in the code tunnel. If you can hear, we all need 3 coffees, please. Indicated Shop said Elite 91 for root stem. Yeah, I've been hearing about things.
This.
Yeah.
I've seen loads about this on Instagram.
Yeah.
91,
They do the pictures. So what it is, people go, Elite 91, amazing root systems, these pure white roots, they're amazing. And it's a good root stem. But what they're doing is, I haven't seen growers using it and getting that result. All I've seen is the people in America, the proper like cloners who get these results. They're going to get great results. But I bet you, if we did a side-by-side test, you could get, apart from the root stimulators that have got a lot of organics in that turn them a little bit brown, a little bit black because of the quality of the organics. I think you could get that from something like Regenerate, to be honest with you. I've had that type of white root growth with using CX Regenerate. Grandad said, from personal use, I normally stop using root stems about week 6-7 of flower.
That's because I told them to.
Do you use root stems in soil? Or does the soil just contain everything? You'll have to answer that, Grandad, top soil grower. PL said, Grandad, I've heard that seaweed later in the cycle is to be avoided. Interesting. Yeah. Root stems with those in them might be a good idea to start with, but avoid at the later stages. 420 said, which product or which combination of root products do you think works best in cocoa? To be honest, you could spin a wheel on the root stimulators on the market.
They're all good.
They are all good. Even the ones that we haven't mentioned, there's going to be 5-6 that we haven't mentioned on there. I haven't come across a shit root stem. All you've got to do is pick the one that's right for you, right for your price bracket. Your Regenerate is one of the cheapest and works phenomenally. Rise of Blast by Botanicare and Root Accelerator by House and Garden. Phenomenal root stimulators. You just got to get your money out, and everything in between. Try them, get the samples, and see what works best for you. PL Grow System said, been seeing good results for using Tribus and Mills Activate being 2 additives that have made the biggest notable improvement. Grandad said, how true for the seaweed, however, seaweed can pack on weight on longer flowering plants. The question saying, similar question for PK additives, can you use them from the start? So PK additives, we never recommend using any PKs until week 3 of flower, and some you'll probably would only start using week 4 or 5 as they start to produce proper flowers. In the Cared Shop said Shogun Sumo Boost. I've heard a lot of rave reviews about it. I haven't used it personally. The reason that we don't stock Shogun, it literally comes down to, we pick our products that land in the shop. If we think that a product is similar to another product, we don't really see the point in stocking it. It's like, for us, it's like having Volvic water and Evian water. some people say there's a slight taste difference, but it's water at the end of the day. For us, we've got water, and it
was there first.
Yeah, and it works. We don't really want to stock 10 different waters because we think that Volvic might be the best, and is using that as an example. And we just don't want to stock 9 other products. Keep them on the
Better
shop.
imitated the rest.
Yeah. So that's it for us personally. We like to have each product in the shop will do a slightly different job, and we try and keep it like that. But I have heard good things. Never ever slate them. Grandad said it's going a bit camping there, boys. Anita said, "Fuck off! You're definitely 17 stone."
Nah. Anita, you've upset me now.
Barry wants to play.
I will be later.
Moonshine is an underrated top product. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Grandad said, on the cocoa, giving up on soil for now. To be honest, I think soil gave up on you a long time ago as well.
No, he means on the cocoa of the night when he's going to bed.
Oh, is that what he means?
That's what he means.
A nice hot cocoa for Grandad. Anita said, I must say, guys, without your knowledge in the industry, where would we be?
You should all be ruined.
Yeah,
no one would know how to grow if it weren't for me.
The industry wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't exist. It's under the table. I'll just pull it out and show you it now and again. That's the industry. There's the industry, look.
This is just a bit of fun. So yeah, good comments. Right. Finishes. Dubious topic for some. Barry doesn't really like finishes, and he will explain why in a minute. The biggest and most out there finisher is by Advanced Nutrients.
No, I understand them. You said that wrong. You worded that wrong. I understand them.
Oh yeah. Do you understand them? No, you've got a problem with why people would use them. Or
I haven't got a problem. What are you trying to say?
You say
causing trouble.
You say
no. I understand what they do and what they're for.
Most finishes,
but I just don't use them.
Most finishes. This is Barry's opinion, and it's not wrong. Most finishes that you've worked with can do things to plants that are not necessarily what you want. So if you've got a good environment and a good PK to start off with, then the finishes like the overdrives are supposed to pack on that weight at the end. They're not necessary because you've done everything right up until that point. And sometimes these finishes can do mad things like cause out sprouts of hairs and can just cause the plant to do funny things that you don't want to achieve. You can say sometimes in some cases, it extends the period of flowering, and that's not what you want. But out of the shit that we give to Advanced Nutrients, Overdrive is a good product. It can do some funny things to the plant. It hasn't got PGRs in it. I know that. And finishes, really, if you've got good PK and good environment, then you should be all right.
I was only thinking that, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. If you wanted to go and sort yourself out first, and I just didn't want you sitting there thinking, I can't go.
What I'll translate, what I mean? Basically what Barry's saying to
Aaron's been on the road all day. We're going out later. And I want to make sure he's all
prime for him. He wants you to go with the restaurant.
I want to make sure he's
speak to the head
all right,
chef.
lad, and
speak to the head chef.
Sorted your shit out, had a quick shower and all that.
Barry's coming to the steakhouse later. Is everything going to be spot on? Because if it's not, it's going to kick off. Like
I wanted him here, to be honest, just to query him, but not query him where he comes on the podcast, but just in case I said something wrong about the new product which they brought out. But we'll get through it, mate. It's a brand new product. I've learned a little bit. So there'll be a few bits I missed, but we are going to end up with Erwin on the podcast at some point. But just not today. He's been on the road all day. I understand. He's a bit jet lagged. You know, he's jet set lifestyle. He's been around the world promoting.
Come from Nottingham, so he's
proper
jet lagged.
So he's been out with Gareth from SANlight, so I think anyone would be ruined. Do you know what I mean? So, but I just didn't want you sitting there. That's why I asked you if you wanted to go and sort your shit out. And that's not me getting ready. If you want to stay, mate, you're more than welcome. But if you wanted to go and sort your shit out, it's 5 to 5. I'll put that in my card. Well,
and you won't ever see it again.
Yeah. Is that one for me? You're leaving that behind? Nah, sound. Phone me in a bit. Go on, I'll see you soon.
And that was
I just didn't want him sitting there. The building. The poor lad's been on the road all day. We've dragged him around the podcast, and I just didn't want him sitting there thinking, I've got to stay here until these finish, and he's got a hotel to go to.
Barry can come across a nice guy all he wants. But what Barry's really saying is, get that fucking restaurant. Make sure my fork is exactly 12.5 centimetres away from me spoon or whatever it is from me knife. Make sure that the steak It's got to be red in the middle,
You're gonna give me
a little bit light
concoction.
brown,
Why are you
and
being
then
horrible?
sugary on top.
Want me to leave as well? Everyone wait for me, lad. Want me
Just
to leave as well?
The real Barry.
What do you mean?
He's a stickler for a good
I've
steak.
got it out, lad.
You've been heartless today.
I just didn't want him sitting there thinking, I'm not going to be able to leave this room because they're fucking live. And, mate, it's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Sound. Finishes. Do you like finishes?
I don't know.
I think there's a point in them.
My environment's dialed fucking right in. So I don't need that.
I
shit.
think it's good if you've fucked up the environment or you've done something wrong and you need that little bit of push at the end. That's what they're there for. Good environment, good nutrition all the way through with good quality nutrients.
I wouldn't say overdrive's a finisher, though.
Last 2 week PK.
Last 2 week PK, nearly a finisher, is it?
What's your term of what would you call a finisher?
Finisher, like a ripen or like advanced nutrients. What's it called? Finish.
Flawless finish
Kind
or
of
something.
flush.
Yeah.
I always thought that's what you meant.
Oh, finishes for me are like what you put for the last 2 weeks, and then I'd add the flush on at the end. And I've put flushes there for additives with the question mark. Some brands like Hydroponics flush is a feed. It's a feed in a flush.
It's a weaker feed to break down the feed to make. Oh, fucking hell, I've gone off on one. It's a weaker feed, so the plant, it breaks down the chlorophyll and stuff in the leaf and breaks down the salt
it's like
in the
Team
system.
Biscuits. Team Biscuits again for your granddad plants and your grandma plants because they need still a little bit of food at the end. Some flushes are just pure salt mineral deposit cleansers and get rid of all the salt and flush out. Yeah. Some people just use water. It's a whole, I think we've done that podcast before, but if you're thinking about flushing, be mindful of what you're buying. Are you buying something to get rid of the salt and therefore you should be flushing right through with them? Or you're buying something like a Hydroponics flush, which is we call it grandma feed. You don't want to be flushing with Hydroponics flush. You want to be still feeding with them because it breaks it down. It takes a little bit longer, 2 weeks, but it'll break it down, give it a little bit of feed, and slowly start to remove that chlorophyll. So just be mindful of what flush that you're buying and what you want it to do. Foliar additives. Leaf coat I threw in by BioBiz.
Yeah.
Not really talked about that much. They've done a big campaign recently with leaf coat. We've give out loads of samples. Essentially, when you take your cuttings or plants in the early stages, you spray them with leaf coat. It puts on a diffused waxy layer onto the plant, and the plants transpire less. So when they've got no roots, if they transpire too much, then they're just going to wilt and die until they get the roots established and they can take up water. This leaf coat by BioBiz is really good for making sure. It's like putting the plants into a tiny propagator. It's like spraying a propagator onto the plants, and it really helps them just get the initial roots out. Overgrow by Optic Foliar. Personally, my favourite foliar
Spray
feed.
while the lights are on.
It's basically a mixture of a few products. Transport, which is the reason that you can get it in with the lights on. And then there's, I should have written that one down.
There's a few, There's
a few in it. One helps with pest and disease. One's nutrition. Yeah. You can literally break them all down and buy the individual products. But Overgrow is the complete nutrition foliar package and is my personal favourite. If you haven't used it, you should get into it. And then you've got Sunshine, which is Moonshine, Sunshine. It's their variant of a foliar feed. Really good. Quite heavy on the nitrogen, which is fine if you just spray it. But me, experimenter.
Can't spray it with the lights on. No.
They say you can, but I've never tried.
You can't.
I just...
You can't. None of
it
them.
doesn't say it on the bottle. And I'm not trusting it until it says
not
on the
that
bottle.
We've gone through this before. In this day and age, if you're bringing out a foliar feed, you should be bringing it out where you can spray it while the lights are on. Standard. How many people are going in the greenhouses when it's dark to feed them and to mess with them? They're not. They're there when the lights are on, mate. So if you are thinking about bringing out a foliar feed, it should be a foliar feed where the lights are on.
Yeah, definitely. Now, little top tip from me. If you're using Sunshine, which is Moonshine's foliar feed, it's a really good product. Got a lot of nitrogen in it, can really green up the leaves. Me, I like to experiment. I thought, well, let's definitely be able to spray this with lights on. I took Transport from Optic Foliar, added that to Sunshine, worked great, sprayed it once a week, but because Transport like basically supercharges the foliar and gets into the plant, I noticed that they went really green very quickly, and they actually got a tiny little bit of nitrogen toxicity, started to claw. And then I realised it's because I was adding transport to the sunshine foliar feed. So be very careful with what you're adding transport to, because essentially a lot of these foliar feeds are made knowing that they've been tested and say, well, we need 50% nitrogen, let's say, because that will work. You add transport in, it's now acting as if it's like 100% nitrogen. You can easily overdose, so be very careful using foliar with transport. Oil enhancers as additives. Terpenez, Terpenator, Winter Frost. They're the three that are on our shelves in the shop. There are others. Terpenez works via, let me make sure I get this right. Terpenator works by stressing the plant out, and the plant naturally produces more oils. Terpenez is just a natural, it gets the plant to produce more oils through the fact that it is an oil, and you can get lemon, orange, blackberry, and original now, I think you can. And Terpenator, I've got Terpenator, which is the original, and Perpenator. Now, the big question people ask about Perpenator is, if my plant is an orange or a lemon, will it turn to purple?
I'm sorry to say it, Steve, but I've heard some, like, not bad stuff about Perpenator, but you're putting something in there to turn your plant purple because you can't do it yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're buying a product now to bring the purple out in your plant. But really, if you've got to do that, it's you done something wrong, because if you had the right environment, the right nutrients, the right airflow, the right everything,
right knowledge,
that plant would have produced its own colours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're buying a product which is forcing it. It's sort of doing, to me, Perpenator is sort of like doing the trick of the last week. Let's make the room run with the lights on freezing cold, and let's make it freezing cold when the lights are off, so the plant goes purple. Or let's flush with ice water and make the plant go purple. So to me, it's sort of, I don't want to say shit, but to me, it's just kidology.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's someone who hasn't got a fucking clue what they're doing, and they're using that to bring the purple out in the plants. Well, if you're not using, if you haven't been in the right environment and you haven't treated them plants well enough and everything like that, then you shouldn't have to use it. But I understand that some people that plant that genetic has got the purple in it, then you've had a problem in the grow room where it was out of your control.
Yeah. So what they're saying is, I've looked into people saying, well, if it's not naturally got purples in it, is it going to synthetically add purples? Their response was, no, it is just a natural.
If your plant hasn't got purple and you put that in, it ain't bringing no purple out.
No,
it's only if it's in the gene anyway. But if it's in the gene anyway, it should naturally come out if you've treated that well.
Yeah. If you've got an orange or a lemon and you need to put a product in to make it more yellow or more orange,
then there's something wrong.
Yeah, because if you can do that with a product, you can do that with your environment and your growing skill and naturally get that plant to its natural colour, top of the pile. Yeah. So Barry's not saying it's a shit product. I'm not saying it's a shit product. It just needs more.
People could have problems in the growing which are out of their hands. And they want the purple, so it's a good solution for it at the end. But try your best not to use that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's...
We don't just sell products at NPK. We give good advice. Winter Frost was the last on the list. I give it to a good few people. Really nice feedback. The last week only. And just really helps plants become, when we say more frosty, essentially just more oil production. And it works really well. So I'm happy to shout out that product. Last couple, enzymes and silicas. And then we'll go to the comments and then we'll let Barry do his shout out to the new product. Enzymes don't get talked about enough. They essentially, an enzyme technical definition is an enzyme allows a process to happen quicker without being used up itself. It's a fantastic thing, and enzymes are just phenomenal. If you're interested, Google enzymes, get into the nitty gritty of what they do, and it's actually very, very interesting. The products CANNA Zyme, brilliant enzyme. If you are not sure if it works, then you can go onto YouTube. You can see something called the enzyme test that CANNA do. They test it with apple sauce, and it breaks down the apple in there, so it pushes more water through, and it's a really good visual way of seeing how CANNA Zyme works. Another one we've just got into shop is SLF 100. It's not just an enzyme product, it's a bacteria product. It's reasonably cheap for what it is. It's £40 for a litre, and the reviews have been rave. Again, we got it into the shop about 2 weeks ago, literally by customer demand, and people, the feedback I've heard from it is really good. So go and check out SLF 100. Another two notable entries: Dutch Pro's Multi-Total.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it on the bottle, so it's not obvious, but it's a full enzyme product along with a few other bits. It keeps your root zone healthy. Use it all the way through, just like CANNA Zyme or SLF, and it's in there with the Dutch Pro range. And then you've also got very obvious gold label enzyme. It's like CANNA Zyme. It's a purest enzyme product. That's all it is, and it works really well as well. Silicas, we pretty much speak about silicas every week. If you don't use them, please just use any silica you can get your hands on. Potassium silicates are cheap. I nearly said nasty. You shouldn't really have to buy potassium silicates now because there's so much options on the market. You've got Grow Genius, in my opinion now, the number one monosilicic acid on the market because of how cheap it is, how concentrated it is, and they say we are no better than any other monosilicic on the market. We are just cheaper and more concentrated. You'll get more bang for your buck. So for that reason, it's the best. But you've also got Buddha's Tree Solar Green Power. You've got, what's the other ones now? Gen 2000 or Gen 200. And there was another, you've got Aptus Vitalize, which is a silica, but for me, it's not a pure silica because it's got so much other bits into it. For me, silica, you just want to buy one silica product. So on that note, be very careful what other products you're using. Check if they've got silica in them, and be very careful if you're going to add silica on top of silica, because even though you're not going to overdose with it, you can probably cause blockages in the plant. So essentially, the nutshell of this podcast is when you're using additives, a lot of products have stuff in them that you don't know is in them. Do your research, look at the ingredients, go onto the forums, try and do your research and find out what's in each bottle.
Because you don't want them to clash.
Exactly. If you want to take the purest route, you'll have Regeneroot, Mighty Growth Enhancers. You'll have these additives where there's a single ingredient in them and you can control every aspect of your nutrition. If you want to pay a bit more and have the companies do it for you, then you take the bottles that have got pretty much nearly everything packed into. You've got seaweeds, amino acids, vitamins, PKs, boosters, all kinds. Be very careful though what you mix and match so you don't overdose your plant. And that's essentially was what the additive, Barry. What the additive. What are you doing with all these additives? Right. Let's see the comments.
We're not running late, but this has been a long one, hasn't it, Stephen?
It was probably because the rant we had at the beginning. People
was
just
a pure rant, that, wasn't it? Nathan
Smith said Clone Guard by Flying Skull does a similar thing. Probably does. No experience with it. I wouldn't put it up against BioBiz myself though. Just off the top of my cuff.
Why not?
BioBiz have just been around for that long. The team that they've got, the scientists that they've got. I would be very surprised if Flying Skull, which is, I've heard good things about them as well, but they're just not on the scale of BioBiz. So it's hard for me to say without seeing it that it would be on par with BioBiz's product. Grandad said, shout out to the boys at Hydroponics. Scouse Tomo said, hi lads, at least you two are honest. That's literally what this podcast is, pure honesty. Jamie Aiden throwing a spanner in the works, but I'll read anything out on this podcast.
Do it.
Grow Genius is a silicon polymer surfactant. It is not a monosilicic acid. Beware the spin from the Highlight Cartel. Yeah. But again, this podcast is for the people, and there's all we are not.
Is he right?
I don't think so. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it.
Where's he from?
I don't know. Just Jamie Aiden.
Well,
he just calls himself Jamie Aiden. so don't know.
I would from the industry, though.
Yeah. Somebody from the industry. I would say a lot of people. The reason I'm on Grow Genius's side is because I've seen little bits of the research. I've seen little bits of the science. I've talked to my scientists, and they say, yeah, that's probably could be true. The reason I'm on the side is, and I don't want to slate them, is because when nano silica first came out, people were like, that's impossible. That can't be done. Nano iron, the plants can't take it up. And I got not abuse, but a lot of negative feedback from people who've been in the industry for a long time, just saying, no, can't be done. Well, it was done. It was just super current research. And we had to fight back against it. The reason that nano didn't take off when it came out is it was just too expensive. Phenomenal product. Just it cost a lot of money for the technology to make it nano. But good points. It's everything is up for debate. So we need hard science, hard facts. We will get Grow Genius probably on again in the summer to talk about all silicas, maybe get into the nitty gritty when silica really works hardest in the summer.
What else?
Nathan said silica in an AutoPot. I read that it wasn't a good idea as can cause blockages.
No, that's fine.
If you use potassium silicate wrongly, potentially could have caused blockages in the old AutoPot, but that's your fault. You didn't use it right. The new AutoPot valve with the bigger diameter hole with proper silicas, you won't ever have a problem.
To mix the silicas first,
yeah,
before anything else.
Scouse Tomo said, "How do you rate Mammoth P?" I rate it as one of the best microbes on the market. The SAS of
good
microbes
is good.
And
I'm not a big microbe fan like Steve, but it's good.
Every litre of water is a kilo. Anita Ferran. Just a nice little fact out there.
Just throw that out there. Yeah.
Each litre weighs a kilo. And yes, please, while Barry's given us, there's 19 people now watching live. Just while Barry's giving us feed out,
really. You know what I mean?
do you want us, there's a lot of people watching today, 19 to 22 people watching live. Do you prefer podcast live on Wednesday or do you prefer it on Thursday? Let us know. Scouse Thomas said, Emerald Harvest, good or bad? I've met them. It's definitely not bad. I haven't used them, so I can't say from personal experience, but I know the people involved in it, and I would say it's a better advanced nutrients because the people are from the same areas and same information, so a much better advanced nutrients, if that helps anyway. Josh shouting out, if you like today's live show, like and subscribe so you never miss a live show.
Hey, Josh.
Go on, Josh.
You're well gone.
And Anita said, we don't mind here any day for you guys. PL said Thursday. Indica said Wednesday. We'll get into Barry talking about the new product.
I've made it over it then, go on. 2 years.
Right. Barry, what have you got? New product?
New product from CANNA, Fan and Filters. I don't, you're going to have to just fucking, I don't know.
Literally got told about it 20 minutes ago.
About it 20 minutes ago, but from what I've heard about it, I fucking love it. I do like it.
I'm just going to the toilet, Barry.
Well,
I'm going to snapshot that look. That was brilliant.
Fucking thump you soon.
I'll punch your beard off.
It's a step controller. It's called a SANlight by CANNA, Fan and Filters. It does AC. And come on, help me out here, lad. I don't know too much about it, to be dead fair, do you know what I mean? But what I do know about it is it lowers AC fans down without the humming and everything, doesn't it?
We've had it on in the office today, didn't we?
Yeah, it'll do air in, air out. If you use it as a manual one with no controller, it's got 6 steps. So your air in is always 1 step behind. Yeah. So if you're on step 5 with your air out, your air in is on step 4 just to keep that negative pressure. Okay. Good. Do you know what I mean? But if you plug in the EC fan controller, you can adjust everything. It'll do everything for your humidity.
From the controller.
From the controller, it will lower everything up and down for you on AC fans. You can plug
with the controller.
4 amp.
Go on,
what was you going to say?
With the controller, you can actually do 2 AC fans and an EC fan into the controller. So a lot of people have had the problem with CANNA where you couldn't. Most people don't want to buy EC intakes because it's too expensive.
Yeah. So you can have an EC
out and an AC in, and it controls all perfect.
You can run. It says 4 amp, but if you can run, it says 4 amp, right? This is the bit of a mad one. It says 4 amp, but if you use, it'll run 2 12-inch Isomaxes on it.
Yeah,
which is more than 4 amp, but because it's designed by them, it takes the load of their fans.
Yeah.
they've worked that out. Do you know what I mean?
So
But
it's
if
4
you're
amp,
using
it's
two
used other
standard
people's-
AC fans, you just can't run more than 4 amp between
Okay.
the two of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But we've had it on today in the shop, and we've plugged every RVK, we've plugged everything into it, and it works fucking amazing with any fan. Do you know what I mean?
That's and they say that's it's not just for CAN.
And
If
to be
you buy
honest with
this,
you,
it's a transformer controller running AC fans at essentially what would be 15 to 20% with literally no hum at all.
yeah,
So
with
it's a
nothing at
nice
all.
piece of kit.
it's made in Europe. All the parts are from Europe, so it's good quality. It's not your fucking Chinese shite. 3-year warranty on it. The controller's got a 2-year warranty on it. But I expect that's not going to happen to it in them 3 years anyway. Do you know what I mean? What else have I got?
It can run up to, the controller can run up to, I think, over 30 Qmaxes, just daisy chained up. It's just the benefits of EC. It's one of the up-and-coming podcasts, AC versus EC. Talk about all the fans and filters on the market, and EC, the time is probably...
The
time is
controller as well. You know what I like about it? Is you can get your hybrids and all that, can't you? And sometimes they are a bit of a nightmare to use. With this, it looks a bit complicated. Let's have it right. It's a little mini computer, and it does humidity day and night, temperature day and night. It does. But it's actually a dead easy product.
Once you start getting
as soon as you start messing with that, you just get right onto what everything is, and it's easy. And I like it because most of the hybrids and that come with the solid metal probe. Well, if you warm one of them up, it takes a while to cool down anyway. So your fan takes ages to go up and down, and with that, it's got the EC probe on the end of it. It's instant.
Yeah.
And do you want to know what the price of it is? Obviously, the fucking price is the price, but we're going to get into fucking people chipping and all that. But for the satellite on its own to be run manually, averages about £220 retail. For that, they do a package deal. Most shops should do you a package deal. If they don't, tell them that you fucking want one, because...
Or come to us.
Or come to us, yeah. Order online. What's the website?
npktechnology.co.uk.
So for the satellite and the controller, works out at £320 as a package deal, which to me, £320. The cheapest one I can find that's any close to that, and it's shit, is 310. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay.
That's well better.
And if you're in the big scheme of things, £320 when you're already spending £500-600 on your EC fans, on your Isomaxes, you're already wanting good kit. £320 for the controller and the transformer is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
it's good money.
To be
so
fair,
people might go out and buy fucking, how much is a bottle of Papernator?
About £30.
£30, £40 or something.
Yeah.
Stop spending it on shite like that and buy yourself this, because it'll improve your environment in your room, humidity, temperatures, everything, and you've got more of a chance to get them quality colours into your plant naturally, rather than synthetically.
Finish off with this. You need A and B to grow a plant. You can get really good results by adding a PK. So before you spend more money on root stems or growth enhancers or amino acids or enzymes,
I will drill it into people. We will get there in the end to say to people, it's environment.
If you haven't got, so a fan and filter, if you haven't got something in your room that when it gets too hot, your fan can increase and it goes cold, it can dial it down, then you spend them hundreds of pounds on enhancers and boosters and PK, all kinds.
Let's have it right. Know if your environment was absolutely blob on, you could have a piss in the pot and you'd get a result.
Yeah, but to be proper serious, an A and B, a person using A and B with a phenomenal environment will piss all over somebody in a shit environment with A and B, PK, root stem, seaweed, canazyme, every additive and every product you can think of, and then some. Doesn't make up for a shit environment, and you hear people going on about it all the time. Environment is king, and we go on about it for a reason. It's because you should be spending £320 on these types of kit rather than
good quality kit that's going to last you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And it is what
people
it is.
will go a full year, do 3 cycles, and if they bought Papernator, I remember, lad, that's only a litre for £30, so it could be £60 every go. £60 times £3, £180. You're halfway to buying one of these, which could
which will last you for
which
5
will last you
years.
for 5 years, and you might not have to buy that product as well as other fucking products that you're buying and putting a load of fucking ice water in there and fucking cooling your room down when the lights are off. You might not have to go through all that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You'll get to see all this equipment.
Environment is key.
You get, yeah. What we're going to do is, we're going to do, Barry loved last week's podcast because he fucking beat me 5-0.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna beat
bastard.
you again, like, you won't win.
Now that I fucked up, I didn't understand top trumps, even though I thought of the idea. And yeah, that was a fuck up last week, but I'm going to be much better prepared for next time. We're going to have an actual sum of money. So we're going to say £20,000.
Are we setting up a room?
Yeah.
Oh, piss all over you again, lad.
But we're not going to spend any amount of that money on people to build the room. Okay, so you can't just say it would cost me £250, but you'd have to hire fucking Dave, the fucking builder, and it's going to cost you $2,500. That's not the rules.
I'll let you hire me.
For the same price.
Oh, meat treats.
For the same price, you're going to charge yourself.
I won't charge myself, though. You can have me for meat treats.
Mate treats is free. That's
No.
how good a mate you are.
No.
Show everyone how much of a heart you've got, Barry. Prove it.
No. This is a competition.
Barry's not got a heart. Not when it comes to building rooms, anyway. So, Anita went in hard there. I have to, click a button to let that comment come through. Anita said, but you can use piss and shit and it grows some good plants. Piss and horse shit.
Yeah.
Not human shit.
Manure.
Bowmouth Farms, yes, lids. Yes, lid,
Right
back
on,
to you,
son.
man. So, some fucking good interaction today. Couldn't keep up with the comments. It seems to me Thursday is a good day because we have had between 18 to 25 people watching live all the way through. Scouse Tomo, I've got people, when you swear, I've got to accept the comments. So you create more work for me, but it's real. Horse shit works a treat. Nettle brew works a treat as well. And that smells like horse shit. So for everyone watching, send us in your thoughts. Do you want it on Wednesday live or do you want it Thursday live? Wednesday breaks up the week a little bit for you. But Thursday, guess what? Tomorrow's Friday. And that is good news for most people.
Especially for me, because
'Cause
I'm
you're
off.
As usual.
What do you mean?
Barry loves his days off.
No, we don't.
He does. You know what we haven't done? Bought wood. So it's now going to be next week before we can get our
I'm
wood.
all right. I'm off tomorrow. I'll get my own.
Can you pick mine up for me?
Yeah, whatever.
Say no heart whatsoever.
Is that us?
That's
Because
us.
my belly's rumbling.
Yeah, the steak
I
is
need
calling.
all 17 stone in me, my love. Is that what you said?
Yes, easily 17 stone. Right, thank you very much, everybody, for
Yeah,
watching
man.
live. Been a brilliant podcast for the live viewers. Thank you very much for tuning in. Get your comments in. Absolutely love it. And you probably see your belly shaking.
Yeah, listen, lad, I'm not embarrassed, mate.
Don't get your kit off. That took hard. That's taking
I'm
hard
done.
work and money, that. It has. Barry's off. I'm off. Everyone watching live, thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, man.
We will be
Nice
back
one.
next Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see what you think. And for everyone listening to podcast, we'll see you next Sunday as well. See you later. Bye-bye.
Ta-da.